What makes a good zombies game? Whenever I think of good zombies games, I think of games like Left 4 Dead 2, The Last of Us, and Call of Duty Black Ops. All of these games have multiple different things that make them good, whether it be good map design, good story, challenging combat and survival elements, or a fun gameplay loop. I also think of unique art styles, like the bloaters from The Last of Us, the steampunk World War I elements of Origins, the dragons of Gorod Krovi, or the cartoony look of the enemies in Plants vs. Zombies. Modern COD Zombies, unfortunately, really doesn't have any of these aspects. For example, the maps in Cold War are really just generic facilities. Same goes for Black Ops 6 and 7 for the most part. Looking at each of the final DLC from each of the Treyarch zombie games, you can really just see how the design and creativity in the maps has just gone straight downhill. The last map of the World at War DLC season was Der Riese, which is a Group 935 facility where the outbreak began. It introduced Pack-a-Punch, the Bowie knife, more than 24 zombies around, teleporters, and the first, I guess you could say, Easter egg. Moon, in Black Ops 1, starts us at Area 51, or No Man's Land. Then, we get teleported to the moon, and by the end of the quest, we end up blowing up the freaking Earth. It also brings a satisfying end to the DLC season. The map introduced the Moon Man, zero gravity concepts, the hacker device, and mule kick. Black Ops 2 had Origins, which introduced the 4 Wonder Weapon concept into zombies, Panzer Soldat, Wonder Fizz, and it had a super engaging main quest that's very intuitive, and also kicked off the ultimate storyline. Black Ops 3 had Revelations, which expanded on the mask idea from Gorod Krovi. It had Furies and a super complicated main quest, alongside with multiple side Easter eggs that even to this day we're still trying to figure out. The map as a whole was a conglomerate of a lot of old maps, but I still think it's pretty replayable and enjoyable to play. Black Ops 4 had Tag der Toten, which in my opinion is kind of where zombies started to fall off. Tag is a very complicated mess because it's clear that it wasn't the original vision that Jason Blundell had intended to be the final map of BO4. Originally he wanted this to be the Great War map, but due to the lack of budget, time constraints, and him leaving Treyarch, it basically led to the map being rushed out and feeling lackluster. This is clear in the overall lack of new stuff in the map. A reworked Wunderwaffe and Thundergun are not a good enough replacement in my opinion for a unique and new Wonder Weapon. And I know what you're gonna say, but Rev doesn't have a unique Wonder Weapon either. Yes, I know. And I'm not excusing that, but at least that map had a boss fight and a proper animated cinematic at the end. Tag's ending is literally a fucking PowerPoint presentation. It's also just a really bad ending in my opinion to the Ether storyline. If I would have had it my way, I would have just wished they had let the Ether story die at the end of BO3 with the cycle continuing, instead of dragging it on and on into BO4. The Chaos story was very intriguing, and I feel like we never really got to see it at its climax. Ancient Evil was an intriguing map, but unfortunately was the end. Anyways, Cold War had Forsaken, which is yet another facility map. The only thing it introduced was the Axe Wonder Weapon, and that's about it. It's extremely lazy of a map, in my personal opinion. All of the maps in Cold War, to be honest, are pretty lazy. They're all facilities with a slightly different aesthetic, which makes them very forgettable and unfun to replay and go back to. In Black Ops 6, the last map is The Reckoning, which is yet another boring facility map. Keep in mind, I quit the game before this map came out, so I haven't played it, but based off of the trailers and the limited gameplay I have seen, it just looks like yet another facility map with reused Warzone assets. I will say, however, the Wonder Weapon, the Gorgafex, or however you pronounce it, actually looks pretty cool. But apart from that, the map just looks very generic. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the story. Now, in all fairness, this has been one of my weak spots when it comes to zombies, especially the post Black Ops 3 stuff. Now, I've done the majority of the Easter eggs, but I've always felt like the story being pretty ambiguous made it more intriguing, along with all the hidden little details, be it ciphers, radios, graffiti on the walls, or just the visual storytelling of the map telling the actual story. I feel like Zombies really doesn't do that as much anymore, and if they do, it's pretty lazy. Now, instead of having something to theorize about, you have intel to gather on each map, which is told to you, and once you collect it, there's no more interactivity in the map. I think if there was a mix of interactivity with radios and, some graffiti and stuff like that, along with intel, it would be better, so it would have a nice mix of both worlds. But asking Call of Duty to take time with their game is like asking Israel to stop murdering children. It ain't gonna happen. The zombie story used to be super complicated, and I'm not gonna get into specifics because we could be here all day, but it used to be so much cooler, along with the map locations and characters being super duper ingrained into the story. But now we just have facility map after facility map and boring character after boring character. We used to actually have some creative locales, for example, an ancient temple, Alcatraz, a World War I battle, a castle, the Battle of Stalingrad, and a multiversal rift that incorporates elements of different maps in space, and oh, I don't know, the fucking moon. You compare it to now, and the excitement is just not there anymore. Zombies, in my opinion, is at its best when it's creative and really out there. I really love when maps try and be unique and do their own thing. Now every map feels like a carbon copy with minimal differences in the layout. The tomb being a great example of a fumbled concept will never not frustrate me. I remember being so hyped for it after I beat the Citadel des Morts Easter egg. I was like, whoa, there's a dig site in France? We all thought we were about to get Origins too, but it ended up being the biggest letdown since Revelations. The map itself is tiny, disappointing, and super boring. The characters are also pretty lame now, and that's because most of the time you're playing as an operator. Operators and skins are genuinely some of the worst additions to zombies because it completely takes away from the story and takes the immersion out of the game entirely. Now, I don't want zombies to be this super serious game mode with no silly or dumb shit in it. I mean, we literally had 4 racist stereotypes as our main cast for years, who would banter with each other and whatnot. Now, we all know it's like messed up that they're racist or whatever, but who cares? It was funny and entertaining, and at least all of the characters had unique personalities and weren't just stale planks that don't add anything to the map. Like that line where Nikolai gets hit by the zombie on Moon and he asks little Nikolai if he's hurt is absolutely hilarious, dude.
Ow, ow, ow! Little Nikolai, are you hurt? No, Papa.
But now you just have the fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Lionel Messi, Nicki Minaj, and Stan fucking Smith from American Dad in your game. Like, unbelievable, Treyarch. You put cartoons and comic book characters in your military and zombie mode? Like, what are you thinking? Seriously. It's so fucking dumb and makes the already hideous aesthetic and visuals of modern games go down the absolute fucking shitter. Also, bringing back the original crew in a new story for the 3rd time isn't getting you any brownie points either. It just adds to the awful nature of the new games and the fact that they can't write new characters and have to rely on the old ones we love to bait our nostalgia is genuinely sad and just goes to show how incompetent the new developers and writers really are. While playing as an operator is completely optional, why would you not play as the skin you just spent 20 of your hard-earned dollars on? Call me broke or whatever, but in this day and age, $20 goes a long way. There's a lot of people who would do a lot for $20, just saying. $20 is a ticket to the movie and some popcorn, a literal meal, a beer, and a ticket to a Rockies game, and about 10% of your gas tank. So when you're spending money on the video game, obviously you're going to be inclined to use the skin you just bought. And because you are, you're going to feel completely disconnected during the cutscenes when the character you just spent money on isn't showing up, and instead it's these random nobodies you don't know or care about. Next, I want to talk about the enemy variety, and really, it's just too much. There's so many different kinds of zombies spawning in at the same time and a bunch of annoying bullet sponge bosses that it makes the entire game just so unfun to play. Back in the day, you would have maybe 1 or 2 special zombies per map, and they used to either spawn in during the round as a boss that follows you around, i.e. like the Astronaut or George Romero, or they would have their own separate round where they would spawn the Pentagon Thief, Hellhounds, Panzer, etc. Now you just have manglers, amalgams, abominations, mimics, and parasites, and all this crap spawning in all the time, every round. And it takes away from the central focus of the game, which is supposed to be shooting and killing zombies. Now, I don't mind a challenge or having a boss zombie, but the amount that spawn in all the time really just takes away from the fun. I've always been of the mindset that zombies is at its best when you have a challenging boss on a map, but not one that spawns in every 5 seconds, like for example the Panzer. Everyone knows that the moment round 8 hits on Origins, this guy is going to come and try to ruin your run. He even has the siren blare and everything, which makes him extremely intimidating. I remember when I heard that for the first time when I was 8 years old, I was absolutely shitting myself. Or when I played Kino for the first time and the map got all foggy and you just heard,
"Yo, round 5, bro, you ready?" "Yeah, I'm ready, bro."
Stuff like this was genuinely scary and added a lot to the mystique and terror that zombies used to have. Now, there's nothing. You'll just see a little purple orb and then an abomination just appears, takes all of your bullets, and then dies. It's so disappointing and annoying because all the boss zombies do nowadays is just eat your bullets and ruin your train. The new games are also sweet as shit. Like, getting round 100 on some of these newer maps is so brain dead that I think my 4-year-old disabled cousin with no hands or feet could actually do it by himself if he even existed. The zombie health cap, 20 hit down, constant ammo restocks, overpowered wonder weapons, and get out of jail free cards seriously diminish the difficulty of the mode. Now, it's not like zombies has ever been like this absolute pillar of difficulty or whatever, but it did used to be challenging and dying was actually punishing, especially in co-op when only one person could have a wonder weapon. Now everybody can have kill streaks and all this crap to help them out all the time that it just really takes away from the mode and just makes it so easy and boring. The oversaturation and constant new releases also cheapens the experience of zombies. Before, we used to have a new zombies mode every other year, which gave Treyarch the proper development time to be given to each map, but then during Advanced Warfare we started receiving zombies about every year or so, and this new trend kind of killed the hype a little bit. But at least the different studios all had their own unique spin and flavor on zombies. But of course, Activision had to step in, and during the making of Vanguard Zombies, they made Treyarch make the mode, and basically this led to a lot of things, but the main thing being that Treyarch now makes every zombies mode from now on, and since then in 2021 they have been making the zombies mode for each game. This leads to the developers being rushed in every single aspect, whether it be the maps, the story, the design, voice acting, and this is why Activision is pushing so hard for AI to be so prevalent in COD nowadays. Because of the yearly release cycle, the devs end up being overworked and the games have been going down the absolute fucking shitter. Every game now also has just the same developers working in different aspects, which is why they all feel the exact same. All the new games are built upon the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, and they all play and feel the exact same. They use the same systems, armor, points, zombie health, which leads to each new zombie game feeling like a reskin of each other. Back in the day, when all the studios used to use their own engine, it helped the game feel refreshing and new. Along with that, each new installment also had a major engine upgrade, which felt completely different. I mean, I'm serious. Go play Der Riese on World at War, then hop into a match with a giant, and you can notice a difference. But you play BO6 and 7, and they feel like the exact same game. The rush development also leads to them cutting corners wherever they can and reusing a lot of assets, which is a big problem. Now, the old maps from World at War and some Black Ops 1 and 2 maps also had reused content, but I think it's alright to cut those games some slack because they were the pioneers of the game mode. And when they did reuse assets, it was in a unique way that didn't make it feel like the exact same level that you were playing through. Noct was literally made as a fun little side mode by developers. It was nothing serious at the time, and it wasn't even originally planned to be packaged into the game. But if you take a look at modern zombies maps, all you see is reused assets and layouts all over the place. Cold War is the most egregious offender in my opinion, because every single map is just taken from campaign or Warzone. Like, bro, Paradox Junction in Black Ops 7 is literally just a recycling bin. It's Nuketown Zombies for the third time, with a Blunder Gap, which is also being reused for the third time. It's just lazy as hell. So I can imagine you must be saying to yourself, the maps suck, the story's unengaging, the maps are boring and uninteresting, the bosses are annoying more than anything, the mode isn't challenging, the new games all feel the same. Does this guy just fucking hate zombies or what? Nah. I really don't. I love Call of Duty Zombies, and I want it to be better, but I know Call of Duty. I've been playing these games for the better part of 15 years. The golden days are over, and they're not coming back. Activision won't listen to us as long as we keep buying their slot-filled games, which is why I made the decision to not buy another COD game until we, as the fans, get what we want. The only way to actually bring change in and get the masterpieces we used to get is by voting with our wallet.